Hi, this video is going to demonstrate how to work with the user interface of BrandNERD's named entity recognition pipeline in a crowdsourced fashion, which basically means that you'll be able to share your work and progress with others, and you'll be able to see what others have contributed to the data set. I'm assuming you're already familiar with BrandNERD, with named entity recognition, especially in the context of brands, with BrandNERD's datasets and pipeline, which are all documented in this repository, which also contains everything you need to know about the user interface, including an extensive manual. So I recommend going to the repository and looking at it. Also, because this is the starting point for downloading the user interface and working with it. So the first thing you will want to do is either download the code or clone the repository on your local computer. And once you've done that and familiarized with everything in there, including the documentation of the user interface, you will want to go into the UI folder. The UI folder contains an environment that you run on your own computer, but connects to a remote server where all the data are centralized. So you can work on your computer and you don't have to worry about installing too many things and setting them up, but all the work that you do will be synchronized with what others do at the same time. The user interface assumes that you have Node.js installed, and if you don't, please install Node.js before even working on the user interface. Once you've installed Node.js, you want to go into the UI folder and open the terminal there. And if this is the first time you run this system, you want to do npm install, which will install all the libraries that the user interface needs in order to work. Clearly, if this is not the first time you're doing this, then you don't have to do that. You only have to do npm install once. Then to start the interface, just do npm start. And you will see a message that says client running at localhost 3000. This is a URL where you will want to go to get access to the platform, which looks like a website, and it actually is a website. So the first thing that you want to do is sign in, but if you don't have an account, which I assume is the case, you will want to sign up with your email, and then you will want to select a password and make sure that the password matches. And when you hit sign up, you will see that an account has been created, and an administrator must approve your account before you can sign in. At the same time, you will receive an email that says that your registration has been received and it's pending approval, which basically means that even if you're registered, you won't be able to use the platform unless you're approved by an administrator. Now, I'm going to approve the new user as an administrator. And as you will see here, once I've approved the new user, which I've done in a separate screen, you will receive an email. Your account has been approved. So after you receive this email, you can click on sign in and enter your credentials, the ones you've decided at sign up. If you don't remember, then you can always use the forgot password link. Once you sign in, you will see several things, but this is your initial dashboard. This will welcome you to the platform and tell you how many users are connected right now. Clearly, there's the one I'm using here and the administrator that approved, who approved the user. And then it tells you how long ago your database was synced. This basically means that you have a database up and running locally that is going to be synchronized with the centralized database. And this is taken care of automatically all the changes that you make to the into the platform is going to be reflected both locally and remotely. But if you need to synchronize the database, you will see commands to do that in the platform. But as you can see, the database is syncing. Don't worry if you see that this happened a long time ago. That basically means that there haven't been any changes since then. You can also sign out from here. Now, I'm going to talk about Canonical's index in a few seconds, but first I wanted to show you the dataset summary. If you're familiar with the dataset of BrandNERD's named entity recognition pipeline, this is basically a count of the original brands, the canonicals, how many brands were searched, how many brands were found using web searches. These data haven't been updated yet. That's why this number is so low. And same for validated. These are the brands that have been validated either manually or automatically based on the web search or users' knowledge or research. Here you will see how many similar brands we found using string similarity metrics, how many brands were aggregated, and how many brands were resolved. So in this case, you can have a snapshot of the current situation of the data set, and you will find buttons here that will allow you to download the data set in TSV or CSV format, so you can straightforwardly use it in your application or in your analysis. And that's where you would download them. An example of a downloaded data set is here. You will see here the original data set, basically, here. And all the TSV or CSV files will have columns, so it's going to be easy to understand them. Now that we've seen the dashboard, where you can have a quick bird's eye view of the data sets and download the data, you'll want to go to Canonical's index, which is the heart of our application. Here, you will see a list of all the canonicals in the database. Here, you will see when the database was synced. You can also always click on sync to synchronize your local database and the remote database. Keep in mind that this is one way only, so from the server to the client, because any changes that you make and that we're going to see in a few seconds are going to be made both on the client and on the server. And then from here, you can go back to the dashboard and sign out. This is the list of all the canonical brands. So it's 370,000 brands. You can move with pagination. You can change how many records you want to see per page. So I wouldn't recommend going up necessarily to 100, because sometimes this could be very slow, because there's a lot of data in here. But you can reorder brands by ID, name, and then searched, meaning how many times we searched these brands. For instance, Ray-Ban, we found 28 results on during web searches for Ray-Ban. How many times these brands were verified, meaning we found entries for these brands, whether the brand was validated, meaning it exists and somebody said, yes, this is a valid brand. How many brands are similar to this one based on string similarity metrics? In this case, home, power, smart, you'll see a lot of similar brands. But also if you look at, for instance, Amazon Basics, you will have a lot of similar brands, 13. A panel just showed up. I'm going to talk about that in just a second. How many brands were aggregated with this brand, whether the canonical was added throughout the pipeline or whether it was part of the original data set. So um, there are many cases in which, as we process canonicals, we need to resolve them to names that were not in the original database. So we do want to add that new name to the data set as a canonical name, but that name was not originally in there. And this is what is added or added signals. So in this case, for instance, FitKit, Effector, Converteam. These are all brands that have been added. Some of them are verified, some of them might not have been verified yet. And then resolved. Resolved basically tells you whether this brand is the target of the brand resolution step, meaning if we search for some other name, we'll land on Cat Jack, or if this brand resolves to another brand, meaning if you see a symbol here, it means that the resolution pipeline has been completed for that brand. For instance, I'm going to show you two cases. Cat Jack here, this is basically the destination of a lot of brands that resolve to this name. I'm going to provide more details about this in a second, but there's a canonical 004004 condoms, which is actually a condom brand, which resolved to a different name. And so you can see here, R arrow means that this brand is resolved to some other name. Instead, if you see arrow R, it means that the brand is the target of the resolution process. You can also search for brands. I searched for Ray-Ban earlier. In this case, you will see all the brands that match Ray-Ban. Now, if we click on a name, you will see a brand canonical detail panel where you will see the ID of the canonical, all the surface names linked to the canonical, the search results that have been found by querying the brand with a specific query. And here you can also type something and immediately query the brand on Google. So by default, there's just the brand name, so you can Google it. But you can say Ray-Ban plus Amazon and then hit Google, and this will search for Ray-Ban Amazon, so you can immediately check if this brand exists. If the brand has been verified, you will find some rows here. As I said, this data set is partial because some data are still on the way. You can here set the brand as valid or invalid. In this case, Ray-Ban is clearly a valid brand, so I'm going to click on valid, and here you'll see status valid. Count basically means how many users said that this brand is either valid or invalid. So this is to say that if you see that a brand doesn't have anything here in validated, in fact, now if I search for Ray-Ban again, you will see that validated is 1. If you see that the brand doesn't have anything in this column, you will want to intervene on this column. And you will want to either click valid or invalid. So in this case, Ray-Ban Justin is not a valid brand, so I'm going to click invalid. And if I refresh the page and search for Ray-Ban, this is going to be updated to invalid. If you see 0, it means that nothing has happened yet. So I strongly encourage you to validate or invalidate as many brands as possible, because that's part of the work it's going to contribute to the platform. Let's look at a different brand now. For instance, Amazon Basics. So here we see surface names, we see search results. Here we have some results for verified, and we've seen that Amazon Basics appeared on Amazon, Manuals Plus. These are domains that we trusted to represent valid brands, and we found a match for Amazon Basics on. You can also look them up. So you can say Amazon Basics on Amazon.com to just double check that these are actual brands that have corresponding results on Google. Then validation. Amazon Basics, I think it's a valid brand, even if it's part of the Amazon family ultimately. So for now, I'm going to say that this is valid. And now that I've clicked valid, if I go to Amazon Basics again, you will see that this name has been validated. And now in similar, I can see all the similar brands for Amazon Basics. Some of them are valid, others are not going to be valid. But what I'm going to do here is I want to select Amazon Basics as the valid one. And then I'm going to say that all the other ones, Amazon Basics, these are all misspelled brands. So I'm going to say that these brands are all actually representing Amazon in some form. I'm not sure about Amazonas, but I'm sure about this, this, and web services, I'm not sure. Amazon US, Amazon Basics, yes. All these brands represent Amazon Basics. Here you will see the similarity score. Clearly, the ones at the top are supposedly more similar to Amazon Basics, so they are a better match. So what I've done here is the valid brand, which is Amazon Basics, was indicated with a radio button, whereas all the others had checkboxes. So what I can do here is I select this one to be the target, and then associate all the other ones, the checkboxes one, to the target and aggregate them. So in this case, I can select them all and say aggregate, or if I want, I can directly resolve them. Resolve will just aggregate and resolve them. So if I click aggregate, this will happen. All the brands that I've selected with a checkbox now appear in the first column, which means that they are aggregated to a group that has as the main member Amazon Basics. So they're all part of a group now where Amazon Basics is the lead. And the next step is to resolve. In this case, the situation is easy because all of them will ultimately resolve to Amazon Basics. So now you will see that in resolution, I have that all these brands resolve to Amazon Basics. In fact, if I search now for Amazon Basics 9, this brand is resolved. And I can see now, even if it's not valid or invalid, I can see that this brand resolves to Amazon Basics. And that's what we want to do. And if we go back to the dashboard, we will see that we've aggregated and resolved 32 names. It was 11 first, before. So let's go back. So let's look at another brand, and let's see what else we can do. So in this case, I want to search for Ray-Ban again. And I want to resolve some of these brands that were clearly, some of these names that were not really valid. So, but in this case, I don't have any similar that I can aggregate these brands with. And so what I can do though is I can directly resolve this brand to Ray-Ban. So I can type Ray-Ban and select Ray-Ban and click change. And now you will see that this brand, and I can refresh this and click Ray-Ban. This brand has been resolved to Ray-Ban. So now you can see the two arrows. So Ray-Ban is the target, so it has an arrow before its name, and this one is the initial, the lookup. So you look for this brand and you resolve it to Ray-Ban. So we can do the same for this and say Ray-Ban, and I want to select the right one, and then do the same for this other one, Ray-Ban, and resolve these. And now the three of them will all be resolved to that. And so I can always go back to the dashboard and see that I'm resolving more brands. So this is basically an overview of how the platform works. There are other things that we can do. For instance, home edits, we don't have to, so this is a valid brand typically. So home edits, we definitely want to say that home edits and home edits USA must be aggregated. And so we can say aggregate, and now we appear together. And when we aggregate brands, by default, it's going to hide them from this list, so we don't have to deal with them again. That's the first thing that I wanted to show. I can also aggregate these two, so I can say aggregate. I can directly resolve them. I'm going to do that later. If I resolve, then all these brands will resolve to Homedics. So if I click here, we will see that these brands are here. We've aggregated and resolved these already, so they're hidden. And we've aggregated some, so these are hidden. If we go to Room Essentials, kind of the same. We can click on Room Essentials and make it valid. And then we can set the other ones and that we think must be aggregated, and we can directly say resolve. And if we do this, they will automatically be aggregated and resolved at the same time. So if you're really sure that you want to resolve them directly, then you can also do that, and that will speed up the process because you'll do two things at once. Now, let's assume that you made a mistake. And I'm going to go back to Ray-Ban, for instance, to demonstrate this because it's easier. Ray-Ban, I didn't want to merge or resolve this brand with Ray-Ban for whatever reason. How do I undo my mistakes? I can go to Show History, and here you see the history of all your actions. So you set Ray-Ban Justin RB as invalid. Then you aggregated it with Ray-Ban and then you resolved it. Well, you can select them all or one of them, and you can delete any of these, and that action will be undone. For instance, I want to delete this one. So in this case, if I go back to this brand, there are no validation yet because I've deleted that record. If I click on invalid again, I will set it straight. So this is how you would interact with the platform. There's way more information in the manual. And as usual, if you have any questions, you can ask them via email. At any given time, you can resync the database. So I'm going to demonstrate it. It's been synced right now. So locally, your database has been synced, and you will find your database right here in UI data. You have brands.SQLite, and this is exactly the mirror of the remote database. But if you want to access the individual data sets, the updated ones, you can go anywhere in the dashboard, click download, and then download that file, and then open it with your editor to see it. Here, this is the resolved. So Black Rifle Coffee resolves to Black Rifle Coffee Company. Let's see some of the Ray-Ban. Let's see. Oh, they're here. Ray-Ban resolves to Ray-Ban, and so on and so forth. They all have headers, so it's easy to work with them. If you have any questions, feel free to refer to the repository because it has all the information you need. Thank you.